Hello and welcome to episode 182 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. Of course, I am your host, Rick Doherty. The Halloween season starts particularly early for the theme parks here in Florida, and that means we're just a few weeks away from after-hours events like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at Walt Disney World and Halloween Horror Nights over at Universal Orlando Resort. Today, my good friend Gillian will be here to talk about after-hours events and why both of us are thinking of skipping them in 2024. Before we get started, do me a favor and make sure you're subscribed to the Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty YouTube channel. Not only can you catch a brand new episode of the podcast each and every Thursday, but you also get vlogs from the theme parks and other travel destinations in between these shows. This includes my first ever ride on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, my first viewing of Country Bear Musical Jamboree, and so much more over the next few weeks and months. Coming up, we'll also be hearing from my co-host Maz on the announcements coming out of D23 in Anaheim, California on August 10th. We're hoping for some exciting new things coming to the theme parks. My other co-host, Sarah Says, is going to be returning from a long break. I know you all love Sarah, and we've planned some time for her to get back on the show. I have media credentials for Tampa Bay Comic-Con, and I'll also be looking for more unique experiences to share with you. Take the 30 seconds right now to subscribe to the YouTube channel and go back and watch some videos. I guarantee you will find a lot of fun stuff. Right now, let's get things started on the show. We're going to welcome Gillian back to Tall Guy Talks Travel. Thanks for being here, G.
Thank you for having me.
I have made a decision, and yes, I am weak-willed sometimes, so maybe I will end up backing out of this decision. But the holiday season is on the way, and when we talk about theme parks, the holiday season includes Halloween. And I believe this year, I don't think I am going to be getting any type of after-hours tickets. I'm not going to be doing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I don't think I'll be doing the Very Merry Christmas Party, any of the after-hours events. And I know that the last time the two of us did an after-hours event together, and that was an after-hours event at Disney's Hollywood Studios back in 2023, you said to me, I just don't think I'm going to do these anymore. So I kind of wanted to have a conversation about what to expect from these events and why people like us who go a fair amount are starting to find that they're not worth the price of admission. So because it is getting close to that time for the Halloween season, I want to start with Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, because this is an event I did in 2018. I did it again in 2019. In 2020, they didn't have it because, well, we all know why. In 2021, they changed it to the Boo Bash, and we went to that together. And then in 2022, I believe, we both went when they reestablished Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And then last year, we didn't go.
No.
So we have obviously already made this decision, but it is an event I wanted to say that, like, I have liked and I have done multiple times in the past, but there are several reasons why I'm not going to be doing it. But let's start with why you don't think it is worth the extra money to do a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party this year.
These events have always been my bucket list, part of my bucket list of things to do. As I've, said before on the show, there's a lot of things that I haven't done outside of going to the actual theme parks, in Disney World. And these events, these extra, curricular ticketed events are one of those things. And the very first one I got to do was Boo Bash with you in 2021, which wasn't the full, Mickey's Not So Scary experience, but it was my first experience with one of those, holiday after hours events. I had a good time. We had a great time, but the very first thing for me that I noticed was the time constraint. And I was just like, this is the time that they do for Mickey's Not So Scary too. It's the same time, like from this time to this time. It's just like they give you a pamphlet with 3 pages of stuff to do, food to eat, characters to visit, special ride overlays to look at, and I just there's who has the time? If it's just you alone, maybe if you like really hoof it, you could actually see everything you wanted to see. But to me, I don't think I could ever do it, let alone with a whole group of people who all have their favorite things they want to do throughout the evening. And like I said, even though we had a great time at Boo Bash, I would almost say that I think I had a better time at Boo Bash than I did at Mickey's Not So Scary in 2022. For the same reason. It was the four of us. We all had different things that we wanted to do, and I don't remember. I think you got to see everything that you wanted to see, and we had even split up for half the night, and I still missed out on a bunch of stuff. And it's just the time constraints. That's what I always come back to. Is just like 5 hours is just not enough for me to have paid this amount of money, and I can't see all this stuff, and I can't pay for more than one night. I'm not going to buy three separate nights to these parties. I mean, for Halloween, I still never experienced Christmas or any of that stuff, but for Halloween, I would have to say that's pretty much my final opinion on that.
Well, yeah, and for you, somebody who has to get a hotel room in the
Yes.
area if you're going to be going up for a Not So Scary, you really can't do multiple nights, because then you're talking about maybe they have it on Tuesday and they don't have it again till Thursday. So that's 4 hotel room nights that you have to get if you want to experience this thing twice. And that's also 2 tickets for it. And you did mention Boo Bash and how we had a better time at Boo Bash. I would say that while there were special character meet and greets and some special overlays for Boo Bash, that was way more like a regular after hours event at Magic Kingdom than
Oh,
it
sure.
was like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Because Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, they sell a lot of tickets to this. This used to be a more limited event. But at Boo Bash, we got the free sodas and the free popcorn and the free Mickey bars and all that stuff that come with after hours events. It was a more limited crowd. And yes, there were more limited offerings as well. But it was that limited crowd that allowed us to do more during the Boo Bash than we were able to do for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And now I am just looking at the calendar for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And it starts on August 9th, which in and of itself is just ridiculous.
Well, that's when we didn't we do it in August, in 2022. I'm
I
pretty sure we
thought we did
or
it
was
in
that Boo
September.
Bash?
I thought we did it in September. We did Boo Bash in August. That is
Okay,
correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the first night is always going to be the night that all the vloggers go and all the influencers have to be there for the first day. So
Yeah.
that one's $149. Then it goes to $119. And it will be a little bit less if you're an annual pass holder, but that is a jump. And we're talking about Tuesdays and Fridays in August that it's $119 until the last Friday in August when it jumps to $129, where it stays until mid-September when it jumps up to $149.
Mhm.
Then the beginning of October, we have 169, 169,
Ugh,
189,
yikes.
189. And then it wraps up on the 25th, 27th, and 29th. They're already sold out on Halloween night at $199 a piece for these tickets. That's just way too much. You're already paying now more than the price you would pay for a day ticket some of these days. And
Yeah.
they are overselling the events. And they're not changing the offerings enough either. I think that is a big part of it. You
Well,
mentioned
yeah.
that they have these special characters, but some of them have been the same for 7, 8, 9 years. Yeah, they have the dwarves, they have special Winnie the Pooh costumes. And is it cute? Yeah, it's cute. It's cute as all get out. But if you're paying $199 and you've already done these things in the past, and if you haven't done them in the past, and this is your only chance to do them, if you want to meet the dwarves, if you want to meet Winnie the Pooh in his special holiday outfit, if you want to see the overlay to Space Mountain, or if you want to see the parade, that's eating up a gigantic chunk of your day.
Yeah, and again, I can understand how this would appeal more to the family of four from Denver, because we live here, we're locals. Again, we come here all the time. We've been to these, you've been more than I have to these special events, but I've been a couple times now, and yeah, I do see that it is a little repetitive. They do have the same stuff over and over again. They don't change very much. So I would get it, like, for a family who's never done this before, and isn't here very often, and this is their big family trip to Disney World to do one of these events. I i totally get how that would be more their thing and will work out better for them. Maybe, again, under the time constraints, I wouldn't understand how, but I do understand that.
Well, that is the biggest point of all, right? Because if you are the family of four from Denver, and let's say you're really into Disney and you're doing all the research and you're going and you're looking at vlogs from people doing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party for the past few years, and a lot of these events are returning. So you're like, oh man, this seems awesome. I want to meet Jack and Sally, and then I want to see the Boo to You parade, and then I want to meet the Seven Dwarves, and then I want to see the Sanderson Sisters show, and I want to see the special fireworks, and oh, there's a Space Mountain overlay. You can't do all that stuff. You're going to
Yeah,
wait 2 hours in line to meet Jack and Sally, and that's
or
going to
more.
be the majority of your day, right?
Yeah.
That is the majority of the quoted time on this ticket. I know in 2018 when we went, we didn't live here yet. We were vacationers. I think our tickets were like $79 at the time. Like, it was not as expensive as they are now. It might have been 89, but it was a better deal. And while they did oversell it, we looked at it like, we're not waiting 2 hours to meet Jack and Sally. So we did some of the things that don't have the huge wait times. But if you want to do the huge wait times, you're only going to get to do 2 or 3 things over the course of this event. And with the price continuing to rise each and every year, I'm starting to feel like these just aren't worth it.
I'll never say never, because I still haven't done any of the Christmas offerings. I never did, the very Merry Christmas party. And now the thing that's really got me is this new event at Hollywood Studios. I can't even remember the name of it. Jolliday Nights. What is it?
Jollywood Nights.
Jollywood Nights. And I didn't get to do it last year. And everyone, almost, like, I was afraid it was going to be canceled because of all the reviews it got last year, because it had a very sketchy, opening. But I still would really love to do the Jollywood Nights, because I just love that old timey Hollywood, Christmas vibe. But again, it's the price, and I know it's going to be the same amount of time as these other events. It's 5 hours to do what? What can I squeeze into 5 hours when I've never been to this thing before and I don't know what to do?
And when we say it's 5 hours, it's really not 5 hours, because you can enter the park 2 hours before the event itself actually starts. But that
Oh, yeah.
means that people from the park are still there. So
Mm,
really, you're only getting like 3 hours with these
yeah.
parties that are with limited crowds. Now, Jollywood Nights last year, the opening night was a disaster. We talked about it with Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. That first day is all of the vloggers, all of the influencers, and Disney drastically overrated the number of people who would want to ride Star Wars Rise of the Resistance and Slinky Dog Dash and Tower of Terror during this time, because the influencers, they get to do that all the time. They can do that anytime they want. So when they're at this special ticketed party, they want the special dessert. They want the special character meet and greets. They want the special ride overlays, the special shows. So that first night was a huge disaster. Now, did they adjust? And to Disney's credit, yes, they did adjust. They added some more characters. They tried to balance things out a little better. They introduced some virtual queues to some of the events. But it still didn't feel to me, and I did this event. I did like the third one, I think. So I wasn't at the one that was a disaster. I was at one of them after they had sort of fixed things. I wanted to see the stage show. Now, I had to wait for that for like an hour to get a good seat to the stage show, but I did that. I'm always willing to do that kind of stuff. But that was an hour out of my ticketed time that I missed from being in the park. And the show didn't start until a half hour after the party started. So I was already actually into my party time waiting for that show. Then I immediately rushed over to the Nightmare Before Christmas sing-along, which takes place where the Frozen sing-along takes place. And that was really fun. It was awesome. But I got lucky that I just made it through and the cast member let me sneak in at the very end, or I would have had to wait for the next showing of it. And that would have been even more time taken off of my park ticket. You just can't do a ton at these events. Now, I will say my favorite part of Jollywood Nights was the band that they had playing at the makeshift club they set up outside of Tower of Terror. That was awesome. You talk about loving that old Hollywood vibe. And this was like an old Hollywood jazz band, like you would imagine that you would see in like a smoky club in Hollywood in the 20s. That was amazing. And they did holiday songs and they did old swing songs, and it was great. But that's something that they should probably have just anyway during the holiday season. You probably shouldn't have to pay almost $200 to see it. I know that you want to do this event because a lot of the things are cool, but just keep in mind, you might only get to do 2 or 3 of those things.
Yeah, it always comes back to the time constraint of the event for me, always.
Now, there is an event in the area that you think is worth it, and every year you get your frequent fear pass, and that is over at Universal Orlando Resort Halloween Horror Nights. Now, this is an event I am not going to experience because I'm a little scaredy cat. However, in 2020, they did have 2 scare houses, or whatever they called them, set up for regular day guests because the pandemic was just messing with everything. So I have done some of these houses before, and they're very, very well done. Yes, I did. I went through them. Now, there were 2 reasons why I was willing to do them in that situation.
One, it was daytime?
Well, no. Daytime. I'm not scared of the dark.
I am.
One of the reasons I was willing to do it was because I didn't have to pay for an extra ticket.
Okay.
And 2 was I knew that we were in the middle of a global pandemic and there was going to be plastic
dividers.
Separating the people trying to scare me from me. So if I knew they weren't going to touch me, I felt I was going to be okay, right?
Well, they don't touch you anyway. So let's dispel that. Let's dispel that rumor right now. They're not allowed to touch anybody ever. They might get close to you and there might not be a divider, but no one touches anybody.
I knew it wouldn't even be an accident if there was a divider. So. But this is a well done event. So why don't you talk about what this entails? Because, like I said, I haven't done the full event, and it's way more than just a few scare houses.
Yes, and what's hilarious to me, first off, is that that is the only year I've missed. I think it's hilarious that I'm just now hearing that you actually did go to that when they had it, all day for free, and you got to go to those houses. That was the first Beetlejuice house, and they did Beetlejuice a second year.
It was the Beetlejuice house. However, that was only like the last weekend of the event. I didn't
Oh,
get to
okay.
do that one.
Okay. But yeah, I that is the only year that I did not go. I did not get to go, I think they called it the HHN Light is what they called it. But no, I didn't get to do that one, but I have done like every Halloween Horror Nights probably for a good 15 years. I've gone every year. The event is that good. I will continue to go. I think we've talked about this before, maybe not on the show. I am not a huge horror movie person. I really am not. It's almost to the point where I kind of don't like horror movies. It's not my favorite genre. But this event is so amazingly done from like start to finish. Like I have to go every year just for the event itself. Like I don't care what the theme is or what horror movie it's about. It's still going to be a banging time going through these houses, getting the crap scared out of you, and going through the scare zones and just hanging out with friends or being by yourself. I've been by myself loads of times too. But when you first told me that we're going to talk on the podcast about these events, I kind of like, oh, so you're like equating Halloween Horror Nights with the Disney Mickey's Not So Scary and the Christmas party, and I was like, in my brain it's like it's not the same thing at all. Like just the time alone, like it's from sundown till 2 in the morning, like 5 nights a week for like what is it, like 2 months straight. It starts at like the end of August and to the beginning of November. So yeah, it's almost like two and a half months, and they almost make it a little longer every year because the demand is there. I don't know. It's just you don't even need to be a fan of this kind of stuff to experience this and have a really good time. They also have great themed food offerings and drink offerings, and the character interactions are different because we're talking about the scare zones, like where you go through each part of the park and it has a themed scare zone where the ghoulies and the monsters come at you. But there's your character interaction right there, but that's all you're gonna get. But yeah, oh yeah, I'm a fiend for this event. Like I get my frequent fear pass, and I try to go at least 5 times, and that's another time. It's way easier for me to head up there, and I can go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 3 nights if I want to, and then go home.
And you mentioned the frequent fear pass. I know that they had something similar that they put on sale for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in 2019, or it might have been 2018. But then the pandemic happened and they thought, okay, like we're not going to release that ever again. They did have something similar that one year for Not So Scary. But let's say you don't get the frequent fear pass. This event's $82.99. It starts at $82.99. As opposed to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party that starts at $119. That is a $30 difference.
Mm-hmm.
$29 difference between a one-day ticket to Halloween Horror Nights versus a one-day ticket to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. That's a huge difference.
Yes, and I can tell you, I do have an experience just last year with this event. My girlfriend Luana, she wanted to go, but she only got one night ticket on the same night that I was planning to go up with my frequent fear pass, and we went. Like I said, it starts like at 6 p.m. Gates open like 6:30, and it goes till 2 a.m. We got more than half of the houses done, as well as you get to see all the scare zones and get something to eat, get some food, get some beverages, hang out. Like we like the time constraint, there is no time constraint to me. Like, she was satisfied with her night. She had been to the event previously, but for her one night, we got more than half the houses done and got to see everything that we wanted to see in that one night.
And now over at Universal Orlando Resort, this is at Universal Studios Florida, correct?
Yes.
Are the rides open like some rides are open at the after hours events over at Disney?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost all of the big rides except for like ET, because they have a house in and around that ride. That's where the staging area for the houses are back there. So like ET is always shut down every year. You can't go to ET because, like I said, it's a staging area for a house. But I'm thinking now, and yeah, every Minions is a house, so you can't go on Minions. Sorry, that wasn't spoken very well. I don't know. You don't know how to say it, but
I think we all understand what you're saying.
yeah.
No, so there are select rides that aren't available, but for the most part, most of them are. If you want to ride Men in Black, or if you want to ride Transformers or something like that, you can do that at this event, which leads me to another question. Is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, is Diagon Alley open during this?
It is. It is. Either I missed it last year, or again, I'm getting this confused because in other, like in California and in other countries, they even have the Death Eaters go through and scare everybody in Diagon Alley and stuff like that. I don't think they've done it in Orlando yet. I could be wrong. Listeners, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't see it. If they did it last year, I didn't see it.
Right, and that's always something that could be added or taken away this year anyway, so don't expect to see it, is what you're saying to people. And that makes a lot of sense because, a lot of things will drop off of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and probably a lot of things will change for Jollywood Nights this year as well. They love to drip, drip, drip announcements with all of this stuff, so sometimes we don't find out about stuff until right before the event. So just quickly, kind of almost as a recap, when it comes to Walt Disney World, the events that you can get is after hours events at Hollywood Studios. Right now, those are looking at like $115 to start per person. Those events are shorter, but much more limited capacity. They will also periodically have after-hours events at Magic Kingdom and at Epcot. I have not done one of them at Epcot. I do kind of want to do one at some point at
I do too.
Epcot, because I know I have been leaving as they've been starting the after-hours at Epcot, and I hear like, oh, over at the DJ booth, here's Chippendale. And I'm like, I have to know what that's all about. And then we do have Not So Scary Halloween Party, Very Merry Christmas Party, Jollywood Nights, and they used to do after hours events at Animal Kingdom, but that's just not open that late right now, so I don't know if that's ever going to return. And there is Disney's H2O Glow after hours at Typhoon Lagoon. I don't know if they'll do this at Blizzard Beach as well when Blizzard Beach is open. Those start at $60. I am not a water park person, but from what I've heard, people who have done those events have really, really enjoyed them. And $60 is a heck of a lot different than, talking about a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party for $200. So there are a lot of things to consider. And we're all looking, if you are that family of four from Denver on vacation, you're looking to maximize your time in the parks. You're looking to limit how long you have to wait in line. For you, some of these after hours events that aren't themed, I'm talking about just a regular after hours at Hollywood Studios or Magic Kingdom, especially Magic Kingdom, might be worth your time. If you're just like, I want to bang, bang, bang ride rides. But keep in mind, they come with a price point, And when you're talking Not So Scary and you're talking Very Merry Christmas, you are dealing with big crowds. These are not limited events anymore. Jillian, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me.
This has been episode 182 of Tall Guy Talks Travel. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, I wanted to make a quick note that last Friday, cast members at Disneyland voted to strike for a better contract from the Disney company. I recorded this episode earlier this week, and I have no idea what may have happened over the course of the past few days, but I want to 100% state that these cast members deserve to be heard and to make a living wage. While we love the rides and experiences, it has always been the cast members who bring that extra level of service. There isn't a day that I visit the Walt Disney World parks that I don't notice one or two CMs going above and beyond what is expected, and what is expected is already pretty impressive. As Disney continues to charge more and more, they can afford to make sure their cast members aren't sleeping in their cars or surviving by going to food banks. We will be back next Thursday with another brand new episode of the show. Until then, have a great week.